Thomas's branch line is important, and so is Edward's. They both bring in valuable traffic. But their tracks and bridges are not as strong as those on the main line. That is why the Fat Controller does not allow heavier mainline engines, such as Gordon and Henry, to run on them. However, if you have heard Gordon talk as of late, you would think that the Fat Controller had barred him from branch lines for completely different reasons. Oh, it's not fair, grumbled Gordon. What isn't fair? Asked Edward. Letting branch line diesels pull mainline trains. Never mind, Gordon. I'm sure Boko will let you pull his truck sometimes, and that would make it quite fair. Gordon spluttered furiously. I won't pull Boko's dirty trucks. I won't run on a branch line. Why ever not? It would be a nice change. Oh, the Fat Controller would never approve, said Gordon loftily. Branch lines are vulgar. He puffed away in an indignant manner. Edward chuckled and followed him to the station. Gordon, his driver, his fireman, all say it was Gordon, his driver, his fireman, all say it was the lady's fault. She wore a green floppy hat and was saying goodbye to a friend who was sitting in a coach nearest the guard's van. It was almost time to start. The fireman looked back. He was new to the job. He couldn't see the guard, but he saw something green waving. He thought it was the flag. Right away, mate, he called. But the guard did not wave his flag. When Gordon started, he left some luggage and several indignant passengers, all standing on the platform. Every evening, 2 fast trains leave the big station within 5 minutes. The 6:25 is for Gordon's main line. Edward's at 6:30 runs along the branch line. By the time that Gordon had brought back, Edward's train was overdue. Will you never miss your path, Gordon? Said the Fat Controller crossly. Now we must clear Edward's train before you can start. They should have put everything right, with the least possible trouble. But control at the big station made things worse. They forgot to warn the signalmen at Edwards Junction about the changed plans. It was dark by the time the train reached the junction, and as you can probably guess what happened. Edward went to the main line, while Gordon was switched to the branch line. It took the Fat Controller several hours to sort the tangle and pacify the passengers. In the end, Gordon was left with his fire-drawn cold and cross at one of Edward's sidings. Bill and Ben peeped into the yard the next morning. They wondered if Boko had brought them some trucks. There were no trucks, but they didn't mind that. Teasing Gordon, they thought, would be a lot more fun. "What's that?" asked Bill loudly. "Shh!" whispered Ben. "That's Gordon." "It looks like Gordon, but it can't be. Gordon would never come to a branch line. He thinks they're vulgar." Gordon pretended he hadn't heard. "If it isn't Gordon," said Ben, "it must be a pile of old iron." "Which we better take to the scrap yard." "No, Bill, that's lots useless for scrap. We'll just have to take it to the harbor and dump it into the sea." Gordon was alarmed. "I am Gordon! Stop, stop!" The twins paid no attention. Gordon shut his eyes and prepared for the worst. The twins argued loudly and long. Bill favored the scrapyard, while Ben said that cutting up in such places was very cruel. "It would be kinder," he urged, "to give these remains a quick end in the sea. Besides," he went on, "that would make a loud splash." Gordon could not view either prospect with great enthusiasm. Up to that time, he had disapproved of diesels. They were, he considered, ugly, smelly, and noisy. But when he opened his eyes and saw Boko coming into the yard, he thought he was the most beautiful sight he had ever seen. "Boko, my dear engine," he gasped. "Save me!" Boko quickly sized up the situation and sent Bill and Ben about their business. They were cheeky at first, but Boko threatened to take away their trucks of coal that he had brought them. This made him behave at once. Gordon thought he was wonderful. "Those little demons," he said. "How do you do it?" "Oh well," said Boko, "it's just a knack." Gordon thinks to this day that Boko saved his life. But we know that the twins were just teasing, don't we?